Well, it's yet not an index as such. It's still a market indicator, so it is a pilot study. And it's more or less a pilot study to facilitate thinking about, let's say, whether the Benelux region is also to be identified as one property market, or one property investment market, yes or no. So it's also about challenging people that are more or less thinking about on decision making on yes or no on investing in property across Europe. And what I see is actually that, driven by governments, by the EU, by the US and so forth, that, let's say, capital markets are becoming unified. So there is one global capital market which is being regulated also on a global level with, let's say, EU differentiation into that. So there is a standardization of the capital market, and that is actually impacting also on the investment markets as such. And from that point of view, I think states and how states identify themselves, countries, is becoming less important, and let's say regions driven by economic structures, macroeconomic structures, are becoming more and more important. And of course, within those regions also key centers, key cities. And what I see, what we think to see, is of course that when you look from a broader perspective into Europe, you see of course the greater London area, the greater Parisian area, the greater Munich and the greater Berlin area. But also when you look from a broader perspective, you see actually Benelux. That is, let's say, the heartland of the Netherlands, the Randstad area, and also, let's say, the area of Antwerp, Ghent and Brussels, being one cluster of economic activity driven by logistics, driven by trade, driven by services and financial services, supporting that kind of economic activity, together with Brussels as, let's say, the capital of Europe, driven by Amsterdam as one of the financial centers on the European continent, and of course Luxembourg, more or less somewhere in between, also facilitating the activities of that.